Okay, what's going on, guys? So I got a pretty fun video for you guys today. I want to evaluate good dividend ETF combos because individual ETFs can have great performance, dividends, low expense ratios, but really what matters is how you use it within a greater portfolio. So I want to evaluate some potential matches in this video. So the two main tools I'm going to utilize for this video is Portfolio Visualizer. This is going to show us the combined stats of this mock portfolio, as well as ETF Overlap. This is going to show us the similarities and differences between two different ETFs. And really what I'm looking for here is good diversification, performance, and income potential. So let's get right into this. The first combination that I like is VIG and VYM. These are both from Vanguard, and they're pretty broad market, dividend-focused ETFs, with VIG focusing on dividend growth companies and VYM high dividend yield companies. So as you would expect, VYM has less growth over long periods of time, but their dividend income is pretty okay at 2.37%. In comparison to that, the dividend yield in VIG is 1.75%, and here is the performance over the past 5 years. Now coming back to Portfolio Visualizer, in terms of the data, we're going back to 2016 for all these calculations, and that gives this combo a CAGR of 12.42%. These are the annual returns. We can see 2019 was a great year, up 26.85%. 2020, a bit more rocky, 8.27%. And so far in 2022, it's holding up better than the average at negative 6.77%. And here is the dividend income over that time. We can see the growth rate depicted in these bars. And in 2021, the dividend income was $479 with the initial deposit of $10,000 back in 2016. And taking a look at the ETF Overlap Tool, between VIG and VYM, we have an overall overlap of 50%, and we can see the breakdown between the two right here. So definitely not too bad overall. This is a pure equity portfolio because these ETFs have no covered calls or anything like that. And of course, they give you exposure to dividend growth and high yield dividend companies. Now this next one here has a slightly different approach, but it has a pretty meaningful impact on the performance. So instead of half dividend growth and half high yield, this is half high yield and half growth companies. And again, over that same period of time, this would have given you a CAGR of 13.83%. Due to the higher focus on growth companies, in a year like 2020 as well as 2021, we had much better performance, but so far in 2022, it's not holding up as well, down 8.47%. And finally, in terms of the yearly income, as you can imagine, this is a little bit lower at $297 for the year 2021. So all in, this did give you slightly better performance than the two dividend options, but the volatility is a lot more and the yearly income is a lot less. But in terms of diversification, I think this is a great way to go. You essentially take the S&P 500 and split it into a growth and a dividend half, and then you can adjust the allocation as you see fit. And for those that care about the overlap data, here we go, and there's not much overlap at all between these two ETFs. But now we're moving into the combinations that are a bit more technical. They use covered calls, and there's just more going on here. So the first one in this category is Devo and Bst. And the reason why I think these two funds work so well together is because they have very similar approaches, but on two different ends of the market. So Devo focuses on dividend growth companies with an opportunistic, tactical covered call writing process on top of it to help boost income. And Bst, on the other hand, focuses on growth and technology names, but also has that same or very similar opportunistic tactical call writing process overlaying it. And over this time period, the CAGR is 18.92%, although there is a lot more volatility from year to year. And most of that volatility is due to the growth tech names in Bst. So back in 2020, the overall combination here had returns of over 40%, but so far in 2022, it's down almost 14%. So there's always a bit of a give and take here. But one area that has no compromises is the income, because both of the funds utilize covered calls to generate income. So with the same initial investment but put into this combination, in 2021, you would have had a yearly income of $1,762. That is very significant. So I think you guys can see why I think these two funds really complement each other in a very nice way. Now, the next one on the list is actually something that one of you guys recommended to me in the comments below, and it's using QYLD along with TQQQ. So of course, QYLD is a pure income play. They forfeit all of the price appreciation of the QQQ in order to generate income off of it. And then TQQQ is the exact opposite. It has 3 times leverage on the NASDAQ. Now this goes without saying that this is an extremely risky strategy, but you can see the overall goal and what's going on here. Since 2016, this combination gives you a CAGR of 26.85% with the most volatility by far we've seen on this list. In 2020, the returns were positive 58%, and so far in 2022, it's negative 32%. So if you want to invest in something like this, you have to really know what you're getting yourself into. And finally, in terms of the income, 2021 was kind of a special year, giving you an income of over $3,000, but in 2020, it was still very high at $1,513. Now, if you like the idea behind this combination, but this particular setup is too extreme for you, then the final one on this list is what I recommend, and this is my personal favorite, and it's the S&P 500 with XYLD. This gives you half the price appreciation of the S&P 500, and the other half is working hard to drive income no matter what the market is doing. And XYLD currently has a dividend yield of over 12% paid out on a monthly basis. So if you take that dividend and reinvest it along with some of the S&P 500, that gives you a CAGR over this time of over 11%. In 2020, this returned over 8%, 2021, 24%, and so far in 2022, it's down about 8.5%. But the income is very compelling here, and it's growing over time, as you can see. And in 2021, it would have paid you over $1,000 with this initial investment of $10,000 back in 2016. And putting it all together, this is what it looks like. So the first combination is all dividends all the time, VIG and VYM. It had a CAGR of 12.42% with a yearly income in 2021 of just shy of $500. The next one was a split between dividends and growth. This gave you a CAGR that was a little bit better at 13.83%, but the annual income was even less at just shy of $300. Following that, we had the Devo Bst split, which is all about their tactical covered calls. Devo does it on dividend stocks, and Bst does it on growth stocks. This gave you a CAGR of 18.92 with the yearly income of over $1,700. Following that, we had the pretty extreme QYLD and TQQQ combo. This had a CAGR of 26.85% with a lot of volatility and a generated income in 2021 of over $3,000. And then finally, we had my favorite combination, which is the S&P 500 and XYLD. And this gave you a CAGR of over 11% with annual income of over $1,000. So here are just some of my favorite dividend ETF combinations that I like to play around with. If I missed one that you like, leave it in the comments down below. If you're still watching and enjoyed, I appreciate liking the video. Go ahead and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.